Hi, I'm Dr. Don Saposnek. I'm a clinical child psychologist. Well, I have seen that there are more women in their late 30s, early 40s who are having children. Some of them are new parents, some of them are second parents, and there certainly are different challenges for them than younger women. Some of them include the fact that the challenges are from the kids' point of view, that they sometimes worry about their parent looking older, not fitting in as much as their friends who have younger moms. But the benefits, I think, outweigh the negatives in that the parents offer what children of any age need, which is patient, calm parenting. Not that that's always the case, but um, with age tends to come along a settling down of reactivity and giving the children more time, more patience, a calmer mom. And we know that children who have calm moms tend to be calmer themselves, not only during gestation, but also in the early years of life as their brains are wiring. They can learn how to self-regulate emotions by watching their parent regulate, whereas younger moms tend to be much more reactive and impatient and kind of jittery and insecure. So the benefits to older moms are certainly in that direction of calming kids down and making them more self-assured and self-confident. So one of the other nice things about older moms is that through their life experience, they gain knowledge of and skills in managing things better. They're good managers, and we know in parenting, managing kids is a really important part of their task. All the schedules around kids, all the things to do, all of the activities that they get involved in. And so having good managerial skills that comes with age and maturity is certainly a big plus for children of older moms. Problem solving, another skill. Problem solving not only is some people are better at it than others in general, but with life experience, one solves more problems, gets more experience at it, and learns what kinds of solutions work better than others. In particular, the problems that arise in conflicts between relationships or within relationships between people, older moms tend to have problem-solving skills down much better than younger moms who haven't had enough life experience with that. And so kids learn not only modeling of how to more effectively solve problems, but they also get their actual problems solved much more effectively with a bigger perspective that older moms have. Well, in terms of the longer-term negative consequences, one of the things that have come out in the last 8 to 10 years in research, particularly this last year, is the correlation between older parents and chromosomal damage to embryos, in particular biologically driven psychological problems such as schizophrenia, autism, bipolar disorders. Those are mainly the three that we know have genetic and biological bases to them. And we're learning that whereas older moms always traditionally have worried about Down syndrome and some of the other chromosomal damages, we're now seeing significant correlations between autism and older parents. In particular, older dads. An interesting little twist, we always used to think that dads could have babies any age and they'd be perfectly fine. But we now know that the genes in the sperm break down over time and start mutating and are causing a variety of problems, particularly autism. It's a high correlation with older fathers over the age of 40, 45, and children being born with autism. So one of the other issues that happens for children with older moms is the fact that they are they feel like they're out of step sometimes when their parents are older and all the other moms around them are younger and more active, more energy, more involved, more spunky, and older moms tend to be a little calmer, a little more sedate, not as easily able to jump into the activities that the younger moms do. Some kids will notice those differences. Some kids won't even care. Sometimes kids get asked if their mom if their mom is their grandma, and that can be kind of embarrassing. So older moms have to come to terms with how to respond to that gracefully, so that not only the person noticing is given an appropriate response, but the child sees mom's pretty confident in herself. I don't need to worry about her being older. And another thing that we need to do is in terms of parenting skills. When older parents become parents, they often haven't thought too much about children and raising parents. They may have had a career. They may have just been leading a childless life for so many years that they've got established in their routines, and they don't think much about what would I do differently if I had a bunch of little kids running around. Well, now they do have a bunch of kids running around, and the parenting skills that are required are not the old-time skills. Not only do they need to catch up to speed on parenting skills in general, but current approaches to raising children and parenting them are very different from how they were back when the older moms were parented themselves. So there's new skills, new techniques, new approaches that are much more effective in parenting that the older moms would have to catch up to speed on. And so I think the need for parenting classes for older moms and older dads could be really, really helpful. When I've done my parenting workshops and I have a number of older moms in those groups, the questions that they ask not only are more thoughtful, but also a little bit more desperate because they don't have the energy to run around after the kids so much, and they want techniques for discipline, whereas a much more effective approach is preventative approaches, which a more current, contemporary kind of approach to parenting can be taught, but they need to have those classes available to learn those techniques. When NASA was contemplating who on our planet is capable of the stresses on their bodies of weightlessness, and they experimented with different ages and the genders, and what they found is when they put a 46-year-old woman up into space, they were able to stay up there longer than men, like significantly longer. There was less atrophy of their bodies, less atrophy of their minds and their cognitive abilities, and they came back much more durable, whereas the men would fall apart in outer space. Their bodies couldn't handle it. Their brains would get all soggy and fuzzy. They weren't able to keep up with all the technical stuff that they had to do in outer space. And what they concluded is that middle-aged women are the most robust of the human species. So when I think of older moms, if we think of both cognitive and physical capacities, they probably are actually stronger in the long run to do the job of parenting than younger moms are, or certainly than dads are of any age. And so there's probably some pros to it that we haven't even discovered that could be real beneficial for waiting longer until you have children. So the problem with the current generation of helicopter parents and overscheduled parents, they are, in my parenting workshops, I talk about that as a major problem. The backlash to helicopter parents who are over-involved and hovering over their children all the time and worrying about everything, the counter to that is what's called the slow parenting movement. And the slow parenting movement is an attempt to go back to times of yore where kids could roam around on their own and not have to worry about things. Parents could do their thing and not have to worry about monitoring their children all the time. My sense with older parents is that they are, in general, more comfortable letting their kids just be and not have to enroll them in everything. The pressure for enrolling comes from other parents, and mostly from younger parents who are new to it, who don't have a lot of life experience and don't know how to raise children intuitively or from life experience because that's absent. So they tend to follow the trends. And this turns into keeping up with the Joneses. And in some of the private schools that I work in, it's turned into an art form where you basically have to keep up with all of the activity to the kid is exhausted, and they wind up in therapy with me with kids who are depressed and down and looking sad and exhausted all the time, falling asleep in class. And their parents saying they have to stay up because we have a karate class to go to, or a ballet class, or a gymnastics class. And when I ask why do they need to do all of those things, well, they said because all their friends are. And the parents kind of expect that. Older parents don't seem to get too much into that. If they do, it's a problem because they're doing something that really doesn't fit their life experience or their wishes, and they're doing something artificially to just try to keep up. Keeping up with the Joneses in parenting is a really bad idea, except for the fact that if you don't keep up with them, the children will put pressure on you to get the latest video game, to get the latest cell phone, to get involved in the latest activity. Kids will put pressure on their parents. Older parents, I think, have an easier time resisting that because they know that game. They've seen it more years than the younger moms who may not know that game. So I think that the movement towards slow parenting is certainly in line with older parents because it is their life experience that they can then recreate.